Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, to Global Impromptu Speaking Session number 224. Thank you, 229th. I'm sorry, my bad. Hope you're all keeping well. Thank you so much. Today, you will be speaking for 1 to 2 minutes, and for the rest of the session, you will be keeping yourself on mute mode and observing other people speaking. Thank you so much for that. Actually, when we listen to other people, we definitely give them priority and it's a sort of respect. Thank you so much for that. Again, ladies and gentlemen, today the word of the day is, I did not share with you, feign, F-E-I-G-N. Pretend to be affected by a feeling, state, or injury. She feigned nervousness. All right, let's start our meeting. Today our topics master is Aqib Javed, and he's very regular, a very good speaker, and his takes are always thought-provoking. Let's put our hands together to welcome our today's topics master and host, Toastmaster Aqib Javed, all the from India. Mr. Aqib, over to you.
Thanks, Toastmaster Amjad, for giving me this opportunity. So, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone here. So, welcome to 229th meeting of Global Impromptu Session, and this is one of the platform wherein everyone gets a chance to speak, and everyone gets to share their thought process, whatever they think about the topic. So this is the beauty of this platform, and it happens every week thrice. That is Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we get ample amount of time to do practice, and ultimately it helps all of us improve our communication and public speaking skills. The word of the day, as told by Toastmaster Amjad, is feign. Feign is faking something, pretending to be affected by. Whenever I ask something to be done from my subordinates, they feign illness. They say, today I won't leave. So whenever we have some big projects coming in, people feign illness. People say, no, I'm not available. There are other issues. One of the common excuse which I have received is saying that wife has organized a celebration today, and it's her that rules the home, so I need a holiday, I need a leave from you. So that's what feigning is all about. Moving up, we'll start the session with Savita ma'am. Savita ma'am, can we have a quick audio video check?
Yes, please.
Toastmaster Savita, where do you find inspiration? Where do you find inspiration, Toastmaster Savita?
Thank you so much, Table Topic Master, Toastmaster Aqib, and my greetings to everyone present here. Inspiration. When I open my eyes and go to my balcony and see sun rising, I find inspiration. Every day, nature gives us so many things. Sunlight, heat, brightness. Without that, we cannot sustain. I go in the morning to take walk on roadside and in the garden. I see flowers blossoming. I see inspiration in that. In spite of breeze, in spite of whatever nature gives, bad weather and all, they still bloom. In whatever conditions nature puts them, they still bloom. They don't lose their tender branches of plants, of trees. They withstand bad weather and sustain themselves. I see inspiration when I go to beach in seawater. Continuously there, water is on the seashore. It doesn't stop. And so much it gives, so many lives are there inside that we can't even imagine. Whatever thing of nature you see, I think I get inspiration from that. People around me, when they do something positive work, I get inspired. My elders, my teachers, my neighbors, my family members, when they succeed in something, I get inspired. My children, when they achieve something, I get inspiration for that. Even a small child, doesn't give up when he or she starts standing or walking. They don't give up on whatever step they want to take. I get inspiration for that. There are tremendous things in and around us. If we see, if we have that vision, or if we have the intent, I think we'll find inspiration in each and everything. We have to keep our intent and vision focused. Painting is not required. You have thoughts and intent should be clear and focused. Yes, there are hundreds of things around me which inspires me. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster Aki.
Thanks, Savita ma'am. Great take on the topic. You started with sunrise, then flower blossoming, and the sea water. When you said it really, it really amazes me the infinite amount of energy which sea waves have. It keeps on rolling and it never stops. So the energy which it has got and the way it pushes people to achieve more in their life. The sound that you hear when you sit at beach, it's really thought-provoking and very much inspiring. So I would say a great take on the topic, ma'am. Next up, I would like to invite Toastmaster Munish if he's available.
I will speak after this.
Okay. Toastmaster Pratyush, can we have a quick audio to check if you're available?
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Toastmaster Pratyush, what impact do you want to leave on the world? What impact do you want to leave on the world, Toastmaster Pratyush?
Leaving impact on the world
Yes.
is something that each and everyone have dreamt in our childhood, that we look up to someone who is an icon, who has left some impact on the world, and we can do something in his or her way so that we can leave a positive impact and an impact that people will remember even when we are not there. Leaving impact in the world is a very big word for me. I will like to leave impact on the places where I am acquainted to. If I am running an organization, I will like to leave the impact within my teammates, that when I will be no longer there with them, still they will tell their children that yes, we were under a leader who never cheated us, who never lied to us. Because I belong to that kind of world which is known as the world of give and take, buying and selling. And this is a world where you get the ample opportunity to lie. I can give you a very lucrative job offer. You will work for 6 months under me. And when you will come to ask for the salary, I will simply lie. No, I did not say that. Yes, I have seen it, and my employees have left me, gone through that situation, and then again come back to me that this person does not lies with the remuneration or the wages he wants to pay. I, being a businessman, I understand that making money in this world is difficult, but making money by lying to others is the worst thing. And I want to leave this small impact on the persons who are near me, that they also get this kind of quality, that they do not lie to others as far as it is related to monetary transactions. Only then you can be a honest and a successful employer or an successful employee. Over to you, Tabletop Master.
A great take on the topic, Toastmaster Pratyush. Honesty is the best policy, and they're not that big to leave impact on the whole world, as you said, but we can leave impact to our subordinates, that they remember you. Even if you leave the company, they say that he was my manager and he helped us grow. He helped us in difficult times. So a great take on the topic, Toastmaster Pratyush. Next up, I would like to invite Farida ma'am. Farida ma'am, are you available?
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. Farida ma'am, topic for you is, why are you you? Why are you you, Toastmaster Farida?
A very good evening to my global impromptu family members. The topic that has been given to me is like totally me. This is what describes me. Why am I I? I feel that each person born on this earth is unique, unique in their DNA, unique in their habits, unique in their genes, not only in their genes, but in their makeup, the entire makeup. I read somewhere that there are 7 people in this world who are like lookalikes, and you can run into your lookalike, and often even I have run into people whom I could like vouch on that this person looks like that person, but the other person happens to be thousands of miles away. And this so happens. But even then, when you look up close, they are different. Why am I? It's because my parents had nurtured me in a different way than others. Why am I? It's because I have worked very hard to develop myself academically and personality-wise. Why am I? Is because I have invested many a years and many a nights into my family and into my relationships to maintain them and to nourish them. And these are the things which make me, my academics, my achievements in life, my family, and my relationships in general. And all of these things are unique to me. And with this, I would like to end my speech. There's nothing to feign about in this life. I own myself, I own my academics, I own my relationships, and I love all of you. A very good evening to everybody.
Great improvisation, ma'am. Why am I? You started saying that the upbringing, the efforts you have put in, and not just in your professional life, also to improve your personality. This is what makes you. So there may be doppelgangers, there may be people who will look alike, but they won't be as capable, as skillful, or working same as of you. So we have a guy who is almost look-alike of Akshay Kumar, and then we have a look-alike of Amitabh Bachchan as well, but they don't perform the way Amitabh Bachchan does. So a great take on the topic, and it felt like a written speech, rehearsed speech. So good job done there, ma'am. Next up, Toastmaster Munish, can we go ahead?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Toastmaster Munish, if we learn from our mistakes, why are we always afraid to make a mistake? if we learn from our mistakes, why are we always afraid to make a mistake? Toastmaster Manish.
Good evening, everybody. If we learn from mistakes, why are we afraid of making mistakes? We are afraid of making mistake that we think that we are going to lose something. That's the reason we are afraid. Because in our business, if we make mistake, maybe we can have a massive loss for that. That fear in the back of our mind make us scared, make us frightened. And we learn from that mistake, no doubt. But some mistakes can be a disaster also. Sometime in a relation, you make that type of mistake, your entire life you regret. One of my cousin, he made a horrendous mistake. He had a fight with his wife. It's a true story. And it was midnight. He told the entire family with his wife and kids, go out from his home. And this type of mistake when a person makes, maybe that time in a fit of rage, he forgot. What is he doing? That his kids are grown up and he's throwing them out. And next morning, or next to next morning, when his temper would have been subsided, what he would have thought? What a blunder, what a gigantic mistake he would have done it. So we should learn from other people's mistake, the mistake which he has done it. So I should learn in a fit of rage. It's not with my family, with my staff member also. I should not behave like this. That is the reason the wise men say that we should learn from other people's mistakes. Over to the Toastmaster, please.
Thanks, Toastmaster Manish. Great improvisation. It reminded me of quotation from Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. He said, "Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Make a mistake you can afford, so that you can make another." So I would say you also came on the same line, saying that if I make a mistake and if I lose all my, all my earnings, then it won't be a correct mistake. So great take on the topic. Next up, I would like to request Toastmaster Navid to have a quick audio check.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Toastmaster Navid, has your greatest fear ever come true? Has your greatest fear ever come true? Toastmaster Navid.
Thank you very much, Tabletop Master. Good evening to all of you. Has your greatest fear ever come true? Yes. It was so frightening experience. Whenever you face the fear and you feel something like heartbeat is going in a speed and you are feeling sweating and you are feeling frightening. I was coming from my hometown to my workplace station and it was around 4 a.m. I reached there and I was already feeling that, oh, what if the dogs are on the street, in the street where I live? What if there are dogs which I exactly don't like? So I reached at 4 a.m. around, and there were 3 to 4 dogs there. So I was praying to God, God help me, how I will reach to my home. So there was one dog near to me. I was not seeing it. He was coming here and there, running here and there, but I was not looking at it. It was the dog which I already feared because I saw him a few days back when I was going in the evening. So it was 4 a.m. and there were no any people there. I just called to my fellow member that I am coming home, please open the door. So he was there and the dog was then gone. But the fear was too frightening. It was very frightening experience. So yes, sometimes fears comes and go, but it helps us to grow and make us strong. So it was all about from me. Thank you very much.
Great improvisation, Toastmaster Naveed. Next up, can we have Naveen sir on the stage?
Hello.
Toastmaster Naveen, why do we think of others the most when they're gone? Why do we think of others the most when they're gone, Toastmaster Naveen?
Friends, as you know, a great man has said that all this world is a stage and all men and women are merely players. They all have their exits and their entrances. And one by one, they play many parts. Of course, it is only after a person goes, it is only after that we really remember that person, his virtues, and all the unsaid conversations which we could have communicated to him or her. I remember a quote which was written by Anne Frank, and I read it in Amsterdam while I visited her museum. It said that dead people receive more flowers than the living ones because regret is stronger than gratitude. Yes, that left a very big impact because there are a lot of undelivered communications which we do not communicate or express our feelings when those people are with us. But it is only when they part, at that time we realize that is we should have communicated this, or we should have taken this advice or learned from them these things. Let me give you an example that when I lost my father about 7 years ago, I felt in a deep agony within me, and over the period of time I realized that is all the differences which I used to have while he was alive, they were totally meaningless. And of course, I felt a sense that I was very childish at that time, and I should have been more matured and amicably lived with him. But that's what life is all about. Life is all about is about living peacefully and living with the right spirit and with right attitude with people, because we don't know that how we are going to depart. And just like a journey in the train, we're all there for some time until we reach our destination, and then we too have to alight over some time. So remembrance is integral, and it's important that in our life of journey, keep it running and keep it smooth and keep it memorable, because that is what will count at the end of the day. Over to you.
Regret is more impactful than gratitude. And one more learning came from you saying that while everyone is alive, we have our differences. When they depart, we feel that these differences were nothing. It was just meaningless that we were thinking about. I would say a great take on the topic, Naveen sir, and it has given a learning for all of us. Next up, I would like to invite Smriti. Smriti, can we have a quick audio to check if you're available?
Hi, Akyu. Am I pronouncing it correct?
Yeah, it's correct. It's correct. Whatever you say is correct.
Hello, Toastmaster. Good evening.
Toastmaster Smriti, what gives your life a meaning? What gives your life a meaning, Toastmaster Smriti?
First of all, thank you so much, Toastmaster Akyu, for giving me this topic. what gives your life a meaning. Although I must not have thought about my life as I'm giving meaning to somebody till when I became a mother of kids. Yeah. So when I gave birth to my first child, I felt like a mother was born. And the pleasure and the feelings were so enormous. I can't tell you. I mean, it is like a feeling which is unspeakable. So that day I found that I got a life. I got a meaning to my life, that I have to raise them to the great virtues, the great values. And it is the opportunity that God has given me to raise a human being. It is like a mold of a clay that I'm just shaping it so that they can become a good citizen of a country, and I can become a proud parent. They have to believe like they are not a one. They have to feel the same inhuman feels for others. So I got a meaning to my life when I became a mother. Thank you, Toastmaster Akil. Over to you.
Great, Smriti ma'am. I would say a step in the right direction. A great upbringing will make them more human and more society. They'll make it more social if you put more energy, towards upbringing of the child. Normally, what is happening today, we don't care much about children. We put them in schools, we go to office. But you have taken a step in the right direction of trying to put more efforts toward the upbringing. Next up, Toastmaster Santosh, can we have a quick audio check?
Yes, good evening, Toastmaster Akil.
Yeah. Toastmaster Santosh, where is the compassion? Where is the compassion that we so commonly feign today? Where is the compassion that we so commonly feign today? Toastmaster Santosh.
Where is the compassion that we go commonly feign today? Actually, if we see our history for last 1,000 or 5,000 years, what we see that as human developed, the social systems slowly grew, and at certain point after industrialization, we started seeing the nuclear families. Nuclear families develop, industrialization, nuclear families, and with that, nowadays the situation has come that who is staying in our neighborhood, we don't know. And if you don't know who is staying in your neighborhood, and you don't care about it, then that is the one thing which indicates that there is no compassion. All the religions and all the teachings from our parents and everything tells us that we should be compassionate to everyone around us. But what is happening nowadays that because of so much of competition, so much of greed of the people to grow by wealth and power, compassion is getting lost. I think people are getting selfish in past, and the society is developed that way that everybody wants to get successful, and nobody wants to justify that. Everybody wants that their children has to become a doctor, should become a doctor, engineer, CEOs of the companies and all. But nobody thinks that whether their children are really capable of that, and but they try to keep on pushing them. So these are the things which contributes to all these factors, that there is no compassion. Everybody wants to ride the ladders where you are stepping up on the people's back, other people's back, or other people's, you can say on other people. So I think the competition, the nature of society being developed and industrialization and capitalist society, this is all creating all these issues. It's taking away from our moral teachings, and this is what is happening. This is what I can say about it. Okay, thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster.
So all I can info from you, Toastmaster Santosh, is it is the competition which is evil of all. Despite all the religions teaching about compassion, being positive, being compassionate towards others, just because of this competition, everyone wants to become a topper in the college. We have that competitive edge and we miss on compassion part. A good take on the topic. Next up, Sharman sir, can we have a quick audio video check if you're available?
Yes.
Sharman sir, is there such a thing as perfect? Is there such a thing as perfect?
Mr. Tabletop Master and Global Improve Friends. And there's no such a thing called perfect. Sometimes people shows they are perfectionist. The perfectionist is actually no more living, I can say. And if you try to be a perfectionist, you are going on only on one direction, and you can't be perfectionist. There are all these human beings in the world. They do mistakes. They do researches. They do trials. And if you think you're doing the perfection, you're not going and doing a new thing. So if you do a new thing, only you get mistakes. You get a trial and error, and you have to practice and see. And others, then the people who are trying to create creative things or novelty things, new things are not coming from your mind. So if you have to open, we have to think like you are strong, I'm strong, and I'm going to be optimistic, and also see the things in positive way. Then your mind is open for doing new things or creative things. Otherwise, we are not adding anything to the world. To add something to the world or the meaningful things, you have to be open-minded, and your mind should be the clear. And also, you have to get you have to read more. You have to learn more. You have to see how other people have come up to this stage, this set of mind. And you also can do something, and you can have a legacy, or you can create something on your own. And you can see a lot of new, the youngsters are coming with some lot of new things. I think Dr. Farida will agree with me. I saw the youngsters found a lot of solutions for this COVID the medicine. So we can't underestimate the youngsters also. So young minds, we are open, and they don't think they are going to do mistakes, and they just try anything, and they want to do something to the world. Over to you, Mr. Topic Master.
A nice take on the topic, Sharman sir. You said that perfection, it creates a kind of silo wherein people trying to become more perfect, they get narrowed down to a certain objectives. However, if someone is open to everything, someone is trying to get into new ideas, they can prosper more. So there are industries which were trying to be more perfect in some segments, and other competitors came and they moved into other directions, and they became, they left a legacy behind. So that is a learning for all of us. We should not go into a silo approach and just one directional approach. So I would say a great take on the topic. Next up, should I invite Jatin? Jatin, can we have audio to check? Yes. I think Jatin, topic for you is still you are a child, but topic is also childish. What is your best childhood memory? What is your best childhood memory, Toastmaster Jatin?
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my fellow Global Impromptu family members. What is my best childhood memory? To me, I have a lot of childhood memories. I have when I'm spending with my friends. There are memories when I'm getting some awards. That's also one memory, and also when I'm spending time with my family. That's also one memory. So I have a lot of memories, but to me, the best memory is spending time with my friends. I'm telling friends instead of family members, because in friends I can be way more open than family members, to be honest. And family members, sometimes you got to be secretive in some situations, right? Like, what if your parents are expecting of more marks, but then you don't get those marks and you start to lie. Like, I haven't done that yet, but I've seen my friends do that. But then if you tell to your friends, like, they're fine with it. So this is the thing. To me, whenever it comes, like, whenever if I play with my friends or eat over there in my friend's place, and if my parents ask why am I not eating in the home, I have to make some random excuse. So this is the thing. Uh, Spending time with my friends is way better, and that's my best memory.
I would say this was a stress buster speech, and I was literally laughing listening at your answers, Jatin. And you're still child, but you still prefer to be with your friends, and lovely response, I would say. Everyone laughed. Everyone was trying to understand your thought process on childhood memories. Next up, Jaya ma'am, can we have audio check?
Yeah, very good evening.
Very good evening, ma'am. Toastmaster Jaya, where would you most like to go and why? Where would you most like to go and why? Toastmaster Jaya.
A very good evening to Global Impromptu members and dear guests. Where would I like to go on a trip, right? Am I right? Well, there are so many places in this world that I would love to go and see. Each place is different, is unique in its culturally, geographically, yeah, and the people over there. There's so many places, and the few places that I would love to go and see before I die. And I've mentioned this before. Under the sea, with all the mermaids, I would love to go up in a space to see all the planets, experience the silence, the darkness, and see the earth above. Third, the northern lights, Antarctica, where during Christmas time, the northern lights, that is during winter time, you see the northern lights flickering, the white snow, and the Santa Claus. What a lovely experience. I would love to experience all this. I would also love to experience climbing up top of the mountain, the peak, like Mount Everest. These are the places that I would love to go before I die. And of course, there are other countries that I would love to see. Each place, each trip, I want to hold a good memory and learn more about it. Over to you.
So we have Elon Musk in our team here. Elon Musk said he wants to die on Mars, and you want to go become an astronaut. A great way, a great improvisation, Jaya ma'am. Next up, I would like to invite Toastmaster Satya. Toastmaster Satya, can we have a quick audio video check?
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are now. Toastmaster Satya.
Okay.
What does it mean to be a human? What does it mean to be a human? Toastmaster Satya.
Okay. So being a human can be, can be observed in two ways. One, you must be in a position where you can help the fellow human beings. At the same time, you must also be in a position to think about yourself. So if you think about yourself and if you can put yourself into a good situation, like if you have a plan of earning 100 crores, if you have a target of such, so if you are in such position, you are a human, because only in that case you can help your fellow human beings. It is not that you completely think about others and completely ignore about yourself, and the vice versa as well. So it's a balance between how you portray yourself and how you observe other self. Other your fellow human beings. So you should maintain a balance. So that's how I define what a human is all about.
Great, great, Toastmaster Satya. Maintaining a balance is what being human all about. Next up, I would like to invite Deepa ma'am. Deepa ma'am, can we have quick audio video check?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. Toastmaster Deepa, do you own your things or do your things own you? Do you own your things or do your things own you? Toastmaster Deepa. I'll keep it in the chat box.
Okay. You know, there's one rule in the fashion industry that whatever you wear, you should wear them and they should not wear you. That's what I remember when I heard the beautiful topic. You should, do you own things or do the things own you? I think I own my things. I like to buy things that I really like and that I will really use. You know, I when I want to purchase a thing, I'm going to think 1,000 times, am I going to need this? And will this be useful? And then I buy. Even then, I get landed up keeping some hobby stuff, which is painting, paints and all those things that I still don't use. I like to own things and I don't want them to use me or rather overwhelm me. So I want to be in control of my goods. And that, they say, is the remedy for the ones who are shopaholics or hoarders. Always remember that whenever you buy a thing, remember why you want it and remember why it's useful, why you need it, will you use it, and then purchases it. In a world where we are required to reduce our carbon print, I think we really need to own things rather than let things own you and tempt you and you start surrounding yourself with things that you do not want to use. Topics Master Akib.
A great take on the topic, Deepa ma'am. I had a friend working with me, and when he joined the company with me, he got a lot of surplus money. So even if it is not required, he bought a car, he bought a scooty, he bought a cycle. Like, bro, are you going to use all of it? So he was like, no, I may not use it, but once I buy it, these things will motivate me to drive. So that is how we went about. Next up, who is left? Toastmaster Sujit, can we have quick audio video check? Sir, we cannot hear you. I think.
Hello.
Mute.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes. Yes, now we can hear you. Toastmaster Sujit, when you close your eyes, what do you see? When you close your eyes, what do you see? Toastmaster Sujit.
When I close my eyes, at some point of time, I just fall asleep. But it happens sometime later on when I close my eyes and try to sleep, I am awake. And finally, I'm in a situation when I'm working and just putting my head on my desk, I fall asleep. So as soon as I close my eyes, I try to visualize. I would like to visualize my success and things which I gonna look in for future. When I close my eyes, I visualize myself amongst my team members who are growing along with me. And this is what I, see when I close my eyes. Back to you, table topic master, Aki.
This is what successful people visualize of. I have trouble sleeping. I keep my eyes shut and listen to some podcast. Next up, I would like to invite Usha ma'am. Usha ma'am, can we have recording with the check?
Yes, sir.
Usha ma'am, what
Can you hear me?
sustains you on a daily basis? Yeah. Good to go. What sustains you on a daily basis? What sustains you on a daily basis? Toastmaster Usha.
Thank you, Akib. Sustain. It gives so many meanings. Sustain myself, or sustaining my family, or sustaining around the people with me, or sustaining the society or the environment. Many things. Yeah. Sustaining is something you live and try to keep to live others and give something to others. Yeah. When I wake up in a day, I feel like, yeah, today going to be a best day for me, because maybe I may try to use less water, or I try to go maybe by use public transport to just save fuel or energy, or something like that, maybe. But in general, every day to sustain, I myself try to give energy, boost myself, like today going to be a best day for me. I will try to drive others, and I give something to others what I have and knowledge, kind, or the support what I can do to others apart from my daily routine, and at least help with a bottle of water to others. So many ways, kind of knowledge sharing, or giving something what I can do, or helping with what we can, I can, all these. When in a day, at least a small help. When a colleague asked me, Usha, can you just do help in this Excel? Or Usha, can you just look after my call once? That itself is a big thing for me. And I feel like I sustain for that day. And when people are in fear, or they need in help, like they might be in phase, like they are not in a position to do something in their routine work or job. Yes, I take I give a help to them. Don't worry, I'm there. I can do it. In that way, also I can sustain something for them to be, do their regular job or something. Yeah, the maybe the environment where I go, daily routine, park for the walk. Okay, the air what I breathe is sustaining me in one way. Yeah, so sustaining is many ways, like you can take anything from the environment. That itself is for me or to anyone to become. Thank you, Akif. Back to you.
So we all have a colleague in our companies who is like one-stop solution, and I believe you are one of them. You are one of them in your company. Next, Toastmaster Rashad, can we have audio check?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes. Toastmaster Rashad, what personal prisons have you built out of fears? What personal prisons have you built out of fear? Toastmaster Rashad.
Speaking of fear, what? Okay. Speaking out is one of the biggest things that I often do. I speak out at open forums. I speak back at my parents, my siblings, my friends, my teachers. But at one point in life, when I see people raising their voice, that just shuts me down. That happens. And that makes me to lose my self-confidence, my integrity, my selflessness, and the list goes on and on. Now, as a 26-year-old, I still go through that. When I see my mother screeching at something, I will just shut down and get my things done, and I will build my own prison. And that prison is just unwanted. And that is something that is like an imaginary castle, or maybe like a heavy burden on my head, I would call it. Now, recently, I told my boss that I need a day off, and she gave her own reasons. She gave her own reasons. And that is when I told that I need to take that leave, and I just shut down. And she kept shouting her agony for a while, and then she just shut down. And had I thought of that, and had I not gone to do what I wanted to do, I would not be able to do it, because my boss keeps barking. I'm sorry, she keeps shouting. She continuously does it because she doesn't have a life. So I just keep on going, because I always tell myself, I respect all the ladies in the house and the gentlemen, but I always tell myself that I am a doctor in a mental hospital or a mental asylum, and my people around me are around that. And I really don't care what the others think, and I just work accordingly. Sometimes my mother or my better half also could be the patient, and I could be the doctor, because it starts from your mind. And I've had unwanted fear. What will they think? What will she think? What will he think? And that is something that we all have to take a big hammer and just break that glass ceiling. Like Akib clearly said, you just have to thrash that glass ceiling and just do whatever you want to do, because life is very short with COVID and pandemic and the economic crisis that's going on. So just live it and do whatever you want. Over to you, sir.
So a great take on the topic, Arshad. We all build these glass ceilings, and I used to build a glass ceiling. So whenever my parents used to call me home, I was like, I have exams. Even if I don't have exams, I have tests. So that is how I was making out of fear that if I go home, they won't let me come back to college. So they're like, if college is not open, why are you even going? So this glass ceiling helped me stay at college for a longer period. I believe we have completed topics for everyone. Who is pending, ma'am?
Sunita.
Sunita, ma'am. I believe you spoke, ma'am.
You missed her.
So, ma'am, you changed your name, and that confuses everyone. Earlier it was showing Lagoon
No, I left in the middle. I had something to do. I left and I came back.
Oh, great, ma'am. Toastmaster Sunita, what do you imagine yourself doing 10 years from now? What do you imagine yourself doing 10 years from now? Toastmaster Sunita.
Greetings to everybody here. Thank you, Toastmaster Akib. This is a question I ask myself very often. I wish I knew the answer to that. And I wish all of us here knew the answer to what is going to happen the next minute after we finish this meeting, or even during the meeting. We have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. But how I imagine myself 10 years from now, I imagine myself to be healthy. That's now something, as I'm growing older, I keep worrying. Oh, have I taken enough care about my health? Now I'm going to be in another few years, I'll be 60 plus. And will I be still hale and hearty? So I worry a lot about my health, and I have suddenly started taking a lot of interest in my health. So I imagine myself to continue this, being healthy and following all these practices. So I imagine myself to be quite fit and healthy at the age of 10 years from now. I imagine my children are settled and I will not worry about them, though everybody around me tells me there's never going to be a time when you don't worry about your children. At all times, you will tend to worry about them. But that is something I'm looking forward to, that I don't want to think about them. They are all settled. They are doing very well. They have people to take care of them. They are no longer my responsibility. All I have to do is look after myself and my husband. But I know this is, so I imagine myself and I would like to do something for society. I would like to teach in a small village. So these are things I imagine myself doing all these in 10 years time. I hope my dreams come true. And over to you, Toastmaster.
A great thought, Sunita ma'am. And I was just imagining this question, had I asked 10 years before in 2011, answer would have been different. And that is like the society's propensity towards health and fitness is growing day by day. And I believe I should also move to a healthcare industry because it is going to, boom. Because people's thought process have changed. Everyone wants to be fit, even while growing old. If we go back to 2000, old people will say, I want to make a better career for my grandchild or for my son or daughter. So the thought was to make the coming generation a better person. Now things are a little changing. We all want to be fit, first of all, because people have grown that much. Development has happened. Rest aside, we have completed everyone now. Amjad sir, can we have audio check?
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Toastmaster Amjad, what do you have that you cannot live without? What do you have that you cannot live without? Toastmaster Amjad.
Thank you so much, Mr. Topics Master. What do I have I cannot live without? Let me read one quote first. Life is only what I have and everything what I have in it. And I cannot live without my life. So, you all of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think humans are made such a way they can live without anything. The reason being, they came alone, they will go alone. Our body is made such a way that we are able to transform our emotions in few minutes, few hours, few days, even after our loved one is gone. This is my belief. Yes, we love people. We cannot live without them, but we live without them. We do. Can you imagine living without your parents? But God forbid, if they leave, we continue living. We cannot leave the world. We cannot leave the world. We have to continue living it. So I believe in my life also, of course, I love my blood relations, my parents, my siblings, my children, my wife, everyone I'm connected with, even you all. But do you have an option to go with the person who is leaving? No, man. Actually, this is the bitter truth. We have to continue living after our loved ones are gone. So same thing applies to them. If we will leave, they will continue living. Yes, they will miss us. They will cry the way we dealt with them. So this is the only thing I have, I cannot live without, which is my life. If life is gone, I cannot live. Very simple. ladies and gentlemen. But one thing is dead sure. If we live positively or for people, most of the time, they will remember us. We will live hereafter as well. There are people actually which are known as our leaders. They have served societies. They have lived life for people most of the time. That's the reason they are remembered, and we give their names as examples, isn't it? So let's do something great, something little bigger than other people, so people can remember us. This is the only option. Yes, I love to go with people I love, but I think that's not right thing. That's not life all about. Life is all about to continue living it without or with people you love. Ladies and gentlemen, life is only what I cannot live without. Back to you.
Life is what we cannot live without. Great take on the topic, Amjad sir. I was just thinking, we have these MBA schools, they produce managers, and no one remembers managers. We should have colleges which can produce leaders, so that they can be remembered and they can do something great for the countries. So that's about the session. Who would like to give a topic to me?
Everyone who would like to give a topic to Aqib Javed, ladies and gentlemen. He has offered us very nice, thought-provoking topics. Who would like to give him a challenge? All right, Sunita ma'am. Lady with a cat. Go ahead, ma'am.
Aqib, topic for you is, you find yourself when you lose yourself in serving others. You find yourself when you lose yourself in serving others.
You find yourself when you lose yourself in serving others. This is going beyond me. I've not done much for the society so far. I've taken a lot of input from the society. I've taken a lot of intake, and the entire society has helped me make what I am today. But when it comes to this topic, that we all realize who we are when we are lost totally, when we are lost in something which is, beyond us. So when I go on my own life, and it is like when I was preparing for my interviews in my college days in 2016, I put all my efforts, and there was a moment when a test result came, and I got fainted. It's like, what has happened? I have studied so much, and things are going in a well direction. What has caused this? And I was totally lost. That is how I realized that this is what my limit is, and this is what I am. I cannot put more pressure than me. I cannot exert myself more than this. So when I got lost, I got to know my limits. What are the upper limits which I can hit? If you go beyond that, you will mostly, have certain what do you say, breakdown, which we say in machines, we will also have. So these are the things when you lose doing something which you are very much passionate about. There will be a time when you will come to know that this is the end, boss. From here on, do what you have done earlier, and you cannot cross this line. This is the upper limit. So this topic goes in the same line. And when it comes to solving society and finding yourself, that will be a kind of guru and leadership role that I can talk only about 10, 20 years, 15 years down the line, when I do something for the society. But that's my take on the topic. And over to you, Sunita ma'am.
Good. Well said. Favorite topic. Everybody has their own views.
Thank you so much, Sunita ma'am, for offering a topic to Aqib Javed. And Aqib Javed, thank you so much for offering us all these interesting topics. Ladies and gentlemen, it was Toastmaster Aqib Javed who conducted and hosted this session. Let's put our hands together to thank him. And And with that, power vested in me as a host of this very meeting, Ayurveda meeting. Thank you, everyone.